Let's head into this newscast with all our latest coverage coming in from the United States as the number of coronavirus cases in US has now surpassed 1 million. The disease has also claimed more American lives than the Vietnam War. Now, at least 58,220 Americans were killed in the US's deadliest war in Vietnam in 2 decades. COVID-19 has, of course, claimed over 59,200 lives in just over 3 months. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump continued to push for economic reopening, even as the outbreak became worse.
We built the greatest economy anywhere in the world 2 months ago, and we're going to build it again. We're going to build it fast. It's going to go very quickly. And Larry, thank you for being here very much. You see what's going to happen. I think you have the same feeling as I do. It's going to come back very fast. Now that our experts believe the worst days of the pandemic are behind us, Americans are looking forward to the safe and rapid reopening of our country. Throughout this ordeal, millions of hardworking Americans have been asked to really make tremendous sacrifices.
Trump also proposed carrying out COVID-19 tests on international flights to curb imported cases.
They're doing it on the international flights coming out of areas that are heavily infected. As you know, Brazil is getting to that category. I think they're going to be okay. I hope they're going to be okay. He's a very good friend of mine.
And now let's quickly go across to our correspondent Jagriti Dave, who's joining me live from Washington, D.C. with more details. Jagriti, a very warm welcome. Now, let's begin with the figures. According to Johns Hopkins figures, the number of cases in the United States has reached the 1 million mark, with American fatalities higher than that of the Vietnam War. Is the U.S. president disregarding the figures by insisting on reopening the economy and instructing governors to reopen schools?
There has been a difference between the states and the federal government's responses to this. States have, such as New York, have talked about gradual reopening, have been very cautious when they've been talking about reopening their economies. And you're hearing just now the governor of California, one of the first early states to have been affected by the virus, talking about a gradual reopening there, saying it'll probably be weeks, not months. But none of them are as optimistic as the president in terms of the language they are using about the reopening of the economy. So there has been this entire difference between the two. And of course, the number of cases in the United States passing the million mark is an incredibly grim number to look at. And that is obviously adding to that tension between public health and the economy, as the federal government and President Trump has an eye to trying to kickstart the economy, which has seen nearly 26 million people filing for unemployment, but also that grim death toll that is continuing to rise. States are concerned that, as well as health experts, of the possibility of a second wave. And this isn't just in the US, this is around the world. There are concerns that opening up too early could instigate a second wave, and nobody wants to see that happen.
Right, Jagriti, and going by the figures we just mentioned, also Dr. Anthony Fauci has stated that everyone in the United States who needs a coronavirus test will be able to get one by the end of May. Many even doubt that even that is a possibility or not. Is the medical infrastructure not in shambles?
There has been issues with testing. States have been saying that initially that there is not enough widespread testing happening on a federal level. The federal government is saying that the capacity is there, and the states are then saying that the supplies, for example, that require the test to be processed aren't there. And that was an issue that was raised with the Vice President Mike Pence, who had said that there would be millions of tests that would occur. And then when he was questioned on that number, he said that what he meant was that they would be available, but they wouldn't but they weren't sure whether they were able to be processed because of the capacity, because of the issues of actually getting the bits of kit that are needed to process those tests. So there have clearly been issues along the way. There are varying studies that show that suggest how many tests need to be done in order for the economy to reopen, in order for the country to have a grip on the pandemic. A Harvard study suggests 5 million tests per day need to be conducted by June in order for the economy to be safely reopened. This was something that was put to the president today, and he said that they were very close to getting there.
Right. All right. So testing, of course, continues to be a bone of contention, but US lawmakers also want an investigation into America's coronavirus response, something like the 9/11 Commission. What could the probe look like, especially when the US president has today itself dodged questions about receiving repeated warnings on the threat of coronavirus?
Yes, this is something that is that the president's critics have been saying for a while, that the president was too slow to respond. The president underplayed the severity of the crisis by focusing on the economy, making claims that it was comparing the virus to the flu, amongst other things. And the president continues to say that he acted fast and aggressively, pointing towards the travel ban on China and Europe in the early days, at the end of January. So these are the sorts of things that would be likely to be thrashed out. But most people agree that now is the time to concentrate on public health and make sure people are safe. Look for a vaccine. Make sure there's enough testing that's able to be done. Those are the sorts of things that should be the focus right now. And even when the president talked about looking into the World Health Organization with his criticisms, globally that was the reaction as well. That there's a time to look into what went wrong, who is to blame, the actions of the roles that people took. But now is not that time.
All right, fair enough. Now, last but not the least, Jagriti, Hillary Clinton is expected to endorse Joe Biden today in an election which has turned into a referendum on Trump post the virus. What will Clinton's endorsement of Biden mean?
Well, Hillary Clinton has in fact endorsed Joe Biden. It was in a Biden campaign town hall, an online event on the impact of COVID-19 on women. And Hillary Clinton, the former Secretary of State, former Democratic nominee, endorsed Joe Biden, the former Vice President, a colleague. They worked together under Barack Obama. And she backed him to run against the man who defeated her in 2016. And she commented about the president, saying that think about what a difference it would make if we had a real president, not just one who played one on TV. And it's noticeable that Democrats from across the political spectrum have backed Joe Biden, which is a marked difference to 2016, where there was a rupture between the Clinton campaign and the left wing of the party who supported Bernie Sanders. But that hasn't happened this time round. So the Democrats are really trying to present a united front in the run-up to the election. And this is something that the Trump campaign, they tried to pick up on the divisions of last time round, and the statement from the president's campaign manager said there's no greater concentration of Democratic establishment than Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton together. So yes, the former Secretary of State having endorsed Joe Biden now as the candidate who they want to see fight Donald Trump this November.
Absolutely. And let's see how that actually pans out for the Republicans and Donald Trump, of course. On that note, thank you so much, Jagriti Dave, for joining us on this morning broadcast.